Well, hello there, and welcome to another edition of Fashion Flair Friday. I am your host every week here on Fridays at 12 noon Pacific time. And I am very excited this week about what I know I accomplished, and I hope you've accomplished something too. Remember, this month we're talking about what? Beautifying your closet and simplifying your life. That is our theme this week. So, with that in mind, out the door went 3 bags of clothes and a car. So, whatever it takes. I just want to know now for any of you that have joined, what did you get rid of? Did you get rid of any clothes? Who knows? Maybe you got rid of your spouse. I don't know. But I hope you're not looking at this with drudge, but rather an opportunity to feel lighter and happier. And I don't know. My daughter said to me, Mom, I think you're on a roll. And you're right. I really feel like I'm on a roll and I'm really excited and happy about it. I just think this time of year, October, is the perfect time to do this. As I've said before we start putting all of our fall things in our closet, cleaning it out and getting it prepared so we can enjoy this upcoming season is what it's all about. So I guess the question is, I just want to know, did you start the process? So if you're here, hey Joey, how are you? Good to see you. So did you start the process? Did you actually take anything out of your closet? A belt, a purse, a jacket, a couple of blouses, some shoes. It doesn't have to be a major overhaul. You can start small. So maybe you got rid of the old wedding gown, or maybe you've got rid of finally the Christmas wrap that is in your closet that needs to be elsewhere. Or maybe you got rid of all the wire hangers or the plastic cleaner bags that have been cluttering up. It's simple things like that that can really, make you feel a whole lot better. So I can tell you that probably the most common problem that my clients deal with, well, before when they come to me, the biggest problem they're having is a closet stuffed with clothes. Okay, but with only a handful of outfits that they feel okay about wearing out in public. So that's the key. Can you actually wear things out in public and be happy about it? And not just wear things from the waist up that we have been doing for the last 2.5 years. So how does this happen? How do we get to the problem of having this closet stuffed with things, but only a handful of outfits that really make us happy? You know, do how did the clothes gather there? Is it a shopping problem? Are you shopping in the wrong places? Are you not bringing home the right clothes? Or is it a storage problem? I don't know. So it can be really a combination of these things. And I'm just suggesting to you to look at some of these things and say, okay, that's a hint. That's where I need to begin. So I want you to imagine life on another planet, a planet where there is no, I'll call it closetitis, that closetitis where you have kind of a sickness in the closet. All right, so I wrote down some things. What might that look like if you lived on another planet and you didn't have closetitis? All right, first thing, instead of the dread of opening that closet door every morning, you actually love it. You're happy to open it and to see what's inside of it. That could be one thing. Or imagine instead of seeing only those 4 outfits that you can really wear out in public, you see 24 outfits or 44 outfits or whatever the case may be. Or you're amazed at how everything really flatters the body that you have today, as though the clothes were handmade for you. Wouldn't that be great? Or how about you rarely need to go shopping because everything you need is right there in the closet already? And how about if you had clothes for every part of your lifestyle? Or how about if you never complained that you needed something to wear? Or lastly, when you think of about your closet, a big smile comes on your face. So that might be what it looks like to have a closet that really has had some beautification and some simplification actually put to it. So I don't want this to sound like a fantasy or some, sci-fi movie. I want it to be reality for you because it absolutely can be. And it's not something that is something to dread. It's something to look forward to and to know that you can be in this place. So in October, I mentioned to you that we are talking about this subject for the entire month because this is a big topic and there are a lot of little components about it. I really want you to get to a place where you've made peace with your closet and you just get on with life and not have to think about it, except maybe once or twice a year when you do your purge between seasons. So I don't also want you to have to worry about every single day, well, what am I going to wear when I go to that meeting or when I go to meet that client or when I'm going to lunch with, so and so. It doesn't have to be that hard. So say hello if you are here. And Diane, hi, good to see you. Started on your closet? Okay, with old shoes and boots. Wonderful. Glad to hear that. See, you just have to take baby steps. So start with that, and then this week now move on to something else. So here's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about the formula. The formula or some variation of this would be to ask yourself 3 questions. The first question is that everything that comes into my closet is going to suit my style and it's going to fill a need in my lifestyle. Okay? That's rule number 1 or formula number 1. Only things that are going to come into my closet are going to suit my style and are going to fit my lifestyle. Number 2, everything that represents your past and not your present needs to go. Okay, so what is your present? What is your present lifestyle? What is your present body? What is your present coloring? What are your present needs? And so anything that is not present today for you, the past needs to go. And then the third thing is that everything that's in your closet needs to be able to be combined with something else to make an outfit. And if you can't figure out what kind of an outfit you can make using this particular garment, then either you need to call me or you need to just get rid of the item because there's a problem there. There's a disconnect there. So those are 3 things, and just really test everything that you look at. Does it suit my style and my lifestyle? Is it fitting my present day or is it my past? It needs to go. And can I go ahead and combine this with something else in my closet to create an outfit? That is going to be a really great test of whether something should be kept or whether something should go. Now, if any issues that are going to come up for you usually are going to be because you aren't following one of those 3 simple formulas or rules. So just think about that. All right, so with that in mind, we are going to talk about, once you get through all that, now what are ways to begin to store things? So for instance, Diane mentioned that she has cleaned out shoes and booties and so forth, and now what she's left with, how can she go ahead and store them? Because remember, we're trying to beautify the closet. So let's talk about 10 creative ways to store your stuff. All right, the very first thing I want you to do, I've got some pictures here, so let me get them out here. Let's kind of start up high in the closet and let's look at that shelf that goes above your hanging rod. And usually it's a shelf that people throw things up on or they get things out of the way. And it becomes kind of a collection of a hodgepodge. So, what I'd like you to do is to think about how you can use that shelf to really have things accessible. And here's the secret. If you can see things, you will wear them. When you cannot see them and they're stuck down in a drawer somewhere, you probably won't wear them. So my goal is always to try and get things out and have them be as visible as possible for you. So here might be a great example of, now this happens to be a wire rack as you can see here, but this could be, a wood shelf as well. But having some sort of dividers to be able to store a variety of things. It could be sweaters, it could be jeans, it could be handbags. You see how something like a divider can actually keep the handbags sitting up straight so that you can see them and find them. Let's see, what else could we store up there? What did I write down here? Sweaters, jeans, short sleeve t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts, handbags. So when you can see things, I can tell you your dressing just gets a little bit easier because you can be inspired by what you're seeing on the shelf, pull it out, and put your outfit together. All right, another thing I like to do is I like to use decorative items. So I love hat boxes, and you can get hat boxes in leather or fabric or a wooden box that's decorative. But what you can do is you can stack them on top of one another. You can set them on the floor. You can put them on a shelf. You can put them on top of your dresser. And what can you put inside of these things? Well, things that maybe you don't have to get to very often. So maybe it's your special undergarments, your pretty undergarments, or maybe it's going to be your socks or hosiery that you don't have to get to, or your shapers that you don't have to get to very often, or slips, or, I don't know, exercise socks, whatever. But in other words, the idea is that this is a way that you can actually beautify your closet by having some pretty boxes in the closet. And I actually have two of these very similar to this, but actually they have some studs on them and they're quite lovely. So, but make sure that they're easy to get into. So for instance, this one with the tie on the top, I'd probably take the tie off because that's just going to hold me back from getting into them a little bit quicker. Okay. Now, if you have any questions as we're talking today, Diane says, okay, my shelf has hats that you rarely wear. Okay, that's fine. And just make sure, though, they're in a place or they're divided up so that they're not falling and slipping and sliding, and maybe having those upright shelf dividers can actually help you keep them in place and use more of the shelf for other kinds of storage as well. All right, so I'm a big scarf wearer. I love scarves, and so this actually happens to be in a wall in my closet. Let's see here, let me get that. Okay, you can see I have two rods that are filled with scarves, lighter up on top, darker on the bottom. You can put them by color, you can put them, I take them off, by the way, every season. So I only keep the current season scarves on the bars, and then otherwise they go into a plastic bin and they get stored for the off season. So what my husband did is, you can see there is a door on one side and then there is a door jamb on the other side. And what we did was we took, it was some sort of a curtain rod, and he cut it to actually fit the width of the wall. And it gave me the opportunity to be able to showcase my scarves, to be number one, easy to grab and go, but number two, to be inspired by some color combinations that I might want to put together in an outfit for the day that I've got coming. So what it looks like, that's what underneath the scarves, that's what it looks like. So that was the curtain rod. You see how easy that is? So that might inspire you to get those scarves out from, again, in a drawer where you can't see them and you have to paw through them and they fall over and they get messy. This is a way where you can just hang them. They don't wrinkle and I can see them. They can also be a way to actually beautify a particular wall in your dressing room or your bedroom. So that's another example. You can, however, also use this type of a, what would this be, a pant rack, where you can actually put your scarves over these little horizontal rods. It's a great solution to storing scarves, and that they can be folded and laid flat and then actually be hooked on the rod of your closet. So that's another option. Now, I want to also encourage you to think about your casual footwear. So I find that, casual footwear like your flip-flops and sandals and casual flats, more the things that you wear around for your home activities or easy weekend activities, can get a little hard to store. They're not usually stored in boxes. So, and they have a tendency to get separated. So the thing that I like to do for them is I like to just have a wicker basket that I can set on the floor or on a shelf, and I can just go ahead and stick them in the basket. They stay together very nicely. The other thing you can do is actually just take a rubber band and band the pair together. That's another way of doing it. But again, don't overstuff them, because then it's difficult to get to them. So maybe if you've got, something that fills up more than a large wicker basket, maybe you've got too many of them. So go ahead, good time to go ahead and clear them out. All right, how about, here's another example of something you can do. Let's see, why is that not? I guess it's because it's at an angle. Let's see. There, that's better. All right, so here is a way that you can actually store some shoes for the off season. Do you see how flat that little storage container is? You can put your shoes in there and you can literally just slip that right under the bed, and out of sight, out of mind for the upcoming season. This happens to be in my closet. Actually, that's what it looks like. So I have some shelves in my closet, and what I do is I put my good shoes into these bins for a couple of reasons. I think the main reason is because, number one, I don't wear them as much as I used to, and yet I do wear them. And so it keeps the dust off of them when I put them. This is simply a Sterilite little bin. And then you can see I go ahead and label the color so that I can see, because I can't see inside, so I can actually read what's inside each one of the bins. And I put them on their side just because that's what happens to fit into the spacing that I have in my closet. But you could also stack them on top of one another. It also keeps the moisture. If you live in an area like I do where it's very moist, high humidity, and you can have a tendency to get, a little mold growing, well, this is a way to keep your anything, but shoes in particular could be some clutches or handbags or things like that that could go into these bins as well. But look at the storage space that you have available in your closet and how can you rethink ways to use that space efficiently. All right. So now let's talk about storing jewelry. So necklaces. Again, I think they should be able to be seen. And you can see I have just a really small space in my dressing area between the closet and between a window here. So I found these little racks on Etsy, and I think they're a great way to store my earrings and store my long, thinner necklaces, again, for easy grab and go. They don't get tangled this way, and I have loved storing them this way. All right, but you could also use something like this. This is a tray, okay? So for your narrower pieces, you can store them. These are readily available on Amazon, and they're also available like at Bed Bath and Beyond. And you can just go ahead and Google or search, storage. I think these are called Keep Knit, but I'm not absolutely positive. Now these happen to be I use those little bins for my heavier necklaces, and because I don't like to hang them because they can stretch out a bit. So and the line that they are threaded on can break. So I use all my heavy necklaces. I use these bins for my heavy necklaces. And what I like to do is I like to kind of color code them. So I keep all my neutrals or my light neutrals in one, kind of my, medium neutrals, and then my more colorful pieces in another. There happens to be a little bit of a plastic tray that goes on top of each one of these bins. You can see this here, okay? And each one of these bins can stack one on top of another. So it's something that you can leave out on your dresser, like what you see right here, and then just, find the bin that you're looking for and select your necklace and you're on your way. They also make them for earrings. I don't happen to use these because I use the hanging ones, but there's another option for you. The other thing you can do with earrings, I used to do this and I actually have some clients do it, and that is like a tackle box, a clear tackle box that your husband might use if he's a fisherman. And you can actually, have the little bins and put your earrings in that. All right, so let me just see if I have any questions. Hi, how are you? Good to see you, Hong. So what do you do with your summer clothes? You're still trying to put it away. Well, what I would suggest you do with your summer clothes is to I'm going to share one tip with you here in a moment, but you definitely want to get it out of your current fall winter closet. So whether that's putting it in a spare closet if you have one, or whether that's packing them up in something that is a plastic bin, a low plastic bin that you can slide under your bed, or whether it's something that is a larger bin that you can put in your garage, but something where, and I'm going to show you, I'm not going to tell you yet, but I'm going to show you another secret too that you can do. All right, so here, let's continue on with the jewelry. This again happens to be, a picture from my bedroom. And you can see I like jewelry a lot and I collect it. And so here are for my smaller bangle kinds of bracelets. And these are more for my heavier, thicker sorts of bracelets. And this happens to be a paper towel holder, kind of a decorative one, isn't it? So the only thing you have to do is to make sure that you select one that you can remove the whole rod. And it's because if you want to get to the one down here at the bottom, you don't want to have to take all of these off to get to it. You want to just pull it off, flip it over, and be able to pull it from the bottom. So that's the kind of paper towel holder I would recommend. Um, and then these you can buy at a kind of a craft store or Bed Bath and Beyond, or again Amazon. But again, say using your jewelry to create a pretty environment either in your closet or in your bedroom, I think is a great strategy. Plus the fact you can see all of this and you can grab it and go. Here would be another way of buying a little, piece like this for your everyday pieces. So as you slip off your pieces at night, just something where you can, whether it's a little hand decorative piece like this, or whether it's some sort of a pretty little tray. Again, you can just imagine setting your watch, your everyday earrings, your everyday bracelet, whatever, right there, grab and go. Okay, so here is what I'm suggesting for storing your summer things. We all have luggage that we don't use anymore, right? And so this might be a way of taking old luggage, storing your off-season clothes in there. Go ahead and put some sort of mothballs or some sort of sachet to keep the moths away, zip it up and store it until you want to pull it down from, the rafters in your garage or off of a shelf or whatever. These also are great to use to store your tall boots that are, off season. Now, this particular October and, through March, you're going to be wearing your long boots, your over the knee boots or your knee high boots. But when you're not, they can take up a lot of space. So this is a great way just to take those boots, stuff them with newspaper so that they keep their shape, and then put them in old luggage and store them away, and you're good to go. Okay, let me see if, all right. I think that's all I'm seeing in terms of questions for the moment. So let me keep going. And that would be underwear. Buying these little inserts that you can put in your drawers, I think is a great way, especially with the foam filled bras that a lot of the t-shirt bras that a lot of women wear today. They can take up a lot of space. So buying something where they can actually stand up and have a compartment all to their own is great. And I love using these for my panties. So I can just pull and go, and I can also tell, okay, it looks like I'm probably just about ready to run out, so time to make sure that wash gets done. So again, organization in the closet is not only for beautification, but it's also for simplification in your wardrobe. This I will mention to you. I think these dust covers for over your jackets, things that you don't wear all that often, but they are in your wardrobe, something like a leather jacket, a suede jacket, wool jackets, or even a grouping of blouses, maybe that are your holiday blouses or your, go out in the evening kinds of blouses where dust will collect on them if you're not taking them in and out of the closet. This is a fabulous way just to keep the dust off of the fabric, because dust will definitely erode the fabric and obviously ruin it and make it just a little more brittle and will tear a little bit easier. So again, Amazon is a great place to find these. And this is another idea. These are little plastic containers where you can go ahead and just put your off-season items. These would be sweaters that you're seeing here, but you could put anything in there and just zip them up and slide them right under your bed. And then, that's where they stay until you're going to need them again. So that's another storage idea. And almost done here. For those of you that don't have shelves, but you have a lot of hanging space of, with a rod going across. This might be a way you can see up at the top that just threads over the rod, and then this elongated piece can be used for anything that needs to be folded, whether that's going to be your jeans or sweaters or t-shirts. But that's a way of adding some shelf space if you don't have it already built in to the closet. And lastly, just a quick reminder that every woman needs to have a mirror in her closet or in her bathroom so that she can look at herself and she can look in the back as well. So if obviously most of us don't have three-way mirrors, but what you do is you just get a handheld mirror and be able to stand and look in your front on mirror and then, check out what's going on behind you. So looking at yourself from the front, the back, the side is always a good thing to do so you really get the full effect of how you have put your outfit together. So I think those are I think some creative ideas in terms of storage. And again, take pictures, take pictures of what you're doing, come back to the group, post it, or if you have a question about anything specific that you're having trouble, storing, then go ahead and post that in the group as well, and then we can all chime in and give you our best answers. Let's see if there are any final questions. No, I don't think there are. I just want to say to you that I want to encourage you to keep on going. That remember, you're doing it in small 15-minute increments. And I don't want you to make a huge project that's time consuming and that is just that you dread, but rather something simple that you can take 15 minutes and just focus on one little area. And then look at all your storage, look at your space, and then look at how you envision you can recreate that space to really beautify it and to have you be able to see all the beautiful things that you have in your wardrobe or you're going to be adding into your wardrobe. So that is it for this week. And next week, we will continue on with our continuing beautification project. So happy weekend, and I will look forward to seeing you next Friday for another edition of Fashion Flair Friday. Take care, all. Bye-bye.